Shalom. All praises, honor, glory, blessings, and power be unto Abanoah Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachaha Korash, and double honors to our apostles, elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone, who are the men of the Lord, and Shalom to the prophets of the body. Okay? Shalom to them, and a hearty shalom to them. All right? And peace and blessings to the 144,001/3. All right. May peace and blessings be upon your households. All right. Anything can pop off at any moment. All right. We are at the tail end of this kingdom. And we are on the verge of Esau, the so-called white man's kingdom, falling. It's falling anyway, but it's gonna fall completely to the point, right? You're gonna wonder to yourself, did this cracker ever rule this earth once? I've got a couple of videos lined up, I found a cross section of videos. I made a video yesterday with a couple of UK youngsters and a couple of American youngsters, Gen Z, having issues with, regarding finding jobs and work and things of that nature, and how virtually impossible it is to find a job. And there were a cross section of people, I had a couple of Israelites on that video that were talking, and one was what looked like to be a Tamil woman, Sri Lankan, or Tamil, which is a specific ethnicity there, right? She was, an American-born Tamil or Elamite. Well, she looked like Elam, but whatever she is, right? Only the Lord knows. She was also complaining. A lot of these youngsters are having to move back home because they can't afford it, and it's all done by design. It's in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, because most of these organizations are owned by the powers that be. They might have faces in the forefront saying, okay, X, Y, and Z owns this company, but right at the top, even the hierarchy that you cannot see, all the so-called elite families are owning these organizations. Okay, and it all goes back to old money, right? Like whether it's Barclays Bank and your Sainsbury's, your Tesco's, right? They're all owned part and parcel by the same organizations. All right, where they're using a lot of AI. A lot of people are losing their jobs, and it's done by design, where a lot of people, to cause frustration, are not getting responses to certain job applications, especially if they're completely qualified or more than above and beyond qualified, and the salaries are kept at least 25 to 30 years old. The same basic salaries they're offering graduates now cannot cover their expenses. In the UK, £25,000 is not a good starting salary for someone who's 18 to 22 years old and they've graduated from university. Now, £25,000, say 27 to 28 years ago, maybe even 30, was pretty good for a youngster to get that salary, especially if you're living at home for the first year or two, until you get on your feet to move out. You're going to get some dough stacked up, then you're going to move out, right? That's what usually people do, especially when you're young enough and you don't have no woman, or even if you have a woman, you don't have no children, you can stack up the money. Now, the salaries are still kept at the same level with the rise of inflation. And that's all done by design to cause frustration, for people to become homeless, for this whole Edomite infrastructure to fall. And you know what goes along with that. Okay, low salaries means no disposable income. No disposable income means less foot traffic to certain malls and establishments, which means closure. Okay, along with these closures, a lot of banks and other organizations are closing, where they're going paperless. And paperless means it's going to a paperless society, meaning we will eventually go to a cashless society when its financial infrastructure falls. So there's a whole mess of things that are happening, and which have an underlying effect on everything else, because there's a chain reaction to everything. Okay, that's why these cities and towns are looking desolate. And Barakti Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai, most of the people that are homeless are Edomites, all right, that are begging for change. Okay, F them. We don't give a shit about them. All right. Okay. Now I'm gonna play a series of videos, um, alluding and showing you the frustration with a lot of young people that have spent six figures, in trust fund money, or maybe parents, their parents worked hard and stacked up money since little Billy or little Sally was 6 months old, and they've been putting money away for the last 20 years for them to go to university. And lo and behold, that money is spent, right? And the youngster could be working part time as well. And then when they try and find a job, that the jobs aren't available, right? It's just basically just a racket. Really, truly, truth be told, if you're going to go to college, it's only really fun for the men. Well, I mean, fun for the men and women, but it's fun for the men because of all the access to a variety of women that you will have at your campus, and especially of all the different ethnicities as well. Especially if you're a young buck, comely Jake, you're going to have a lot of damn fun with women. That's the only aspect that I see from it, because a lot of that's the only thing in it. It's basically, if you come from a well-to-do family, or if you're okay financially, your parents do all right, you can f around for 4 years and get a degree out of it and get some box, a whole bunch of box. Jake and gonna, men are gonna go there. Men are gonna do that thing. But otherwise, for the most part, the education system is bullshit. All right. And, you get degrees, and sometimes you get a job and it's not even connected to your degree, you know, but you have that feeling that you accomplished something. All right. And your parents feel proud. Oh yeah, my son went to university. He's not a bum. He's not a dropout, which I can understand that, because especially our parents have worked hard to put food on the table as we were coming up. Like my dad, he worked in construction. He was a carpenter, right? Both my parents weren't high flyers, but they worked hard and went above and beyond, right? And now we're at the stage where the grinding is ceasing. There's nothing out there. Back in the 70s, my dad used to say, you could leave one job, right, and have a job the next day with better pay. In those days, they would offer you jobs in the 70s, work being a bus driver or a train driver or whatever, and they'd give you a company house where the rent and everything else will be paid by the government. And all you'll be doing is earning the money. Even coppers got those kinds of benefits. You know, there was a lot of fringe benefits in those days, man. And that was just the 70s. What, 50 years ago? Now you ain't gonna get nothing, nothing. All right, all right. Salakia for the long-winded, what I was, when I speak, when I initially start a video. But sometimes there's a lot on your mind, and you just want to, let it be known. Salakia for that, Ecclesiasticus, yeah, Ecclesiastes 12:3 in the King James Version. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. It is darkened. The optimism has gone out. There's no jobs out there. There's no future. There is, when your parents start saying the things that they did to acquire jobs, and you try and explain to them, because a lot of them are retired, sometimes they may not understand why there's a lack of jobs, why young Billy and Sally are not working. Okay, because sometimes people that are in their 70s and mid 70s, they're thinking with that mindset when they were young, like in the 70s, late 60s, when that world has completely changed. And they've been retired for the last 15 years or whatever, right? Or 10 years or whatever. Sometimes they're oblivious to that, but some people do understand, you know, and they, you hear all these stories how your parents overcome difficulty by doing this, that, and the third, and those options are not even there anymore. And I made a video yesterday where there's a woman who wants to lawfully earn money, right? It were Jake women, by the way, and some of them were nice looking, right? They weren't bad, right? Yeah, and they were thinking about doing OnlyFans. And OnlyFans is going to only open doors to what? Like a gateway drug. It's going to only open doors to what? Prostitution, because there'll be a lot of wealthy men out there, Like what's that comedian's name, bruv? 5150 show, Corey something, Corey Holcomb. You know, he says he likes dealing with women that are broke because women that are broke are a little bit more subservient, and you can impress them with a Happy Meal, some shit. How he said it, you know. And a lot of these women that are, that don't have no money, the men they rejected, right? That were doing okay, and they were, somewhat what a woman would say is good looking. That same man, right, is going to be saying no to you, and then you'll have to go below the belt in terms of men. You might have to deal with old ass, Edomites, other nations, even, grimy Jake that's going to say, okay, yeah, I'll deal with you, $100, for 3 days of, sex or whatever, or a day of it, and I've got to pipe you down 3-4 times. It's going to get to that point, where it's going to be negotiations on that level. It's going to get so dark out here. All right. So the world, the way it was before, is not coming back. All right. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. And that's a commodity that an attractive woman with a nice body has, is her. She's the commodity. Okay. Her looks, her beauty, right? Her hygiene, her body, right, is going to be a target in these times to come, especially you women that are where the vintage is failing for you, where things ain't working out for you. You don't need a man. Men ain't shit, right? Okay. A lot of those, the tides, the tables are going to turn. All right. You're going to be hunted down in these streets, as vile and horrible as it's going to be. Right. Okay. But the men of the Lord ain't going to do shit like that. All right. And none of the elect are going to do shit like that. All right. Only these weird sickos, 2/3, and heathens and 2/3 are going to do that. Any women are going to be hunted. All right. You've seen in the Purge where, these two attractive women, I think it was the first one or the second one, where these two attractive Jake women, their mother and daughter, and they live alone in an apartment block. And there's a guy there. I think it was a Latin Jake, the one with the bald head that was in Training Day. Yeah. He was targeting them. He was thinking that on that day of the Purge, I want to take him and grape him, because they were denying him, well, he wanted them, right? But he was a sick F anyway, a sick fuck, But anyway, verse 4. And that's what's going to happen to a lot of you women, all right? All the optimism is out the window, and all for you weird, and for you men too. Okay, those days ain't coming back. Verse 4. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, all right? No foot traffic, shops and stores, malls closing, okay? All right, you're going to be nostalgic. Oh man, I used to walk down the mall. I used to go to that mall. Oh, that's when I met my woman, 25 years ago, or I met this girl, this cutie that used to work in the ice cream parlor or whatever, That's when I met so and so that Saturday afternoon. The sun was shining in July. It was 1997. You're going to think like that. Think, man, look at this place now. Those of you that can remember, I went to my local mall. It's completely desolate, man. And there are stores there. It's all these weirdo Ishmaelite, Turkish type coffee shops and shit, and a whole bunch of men sitting outside smoking cigarettes and doing shisha. There, and a lot of these shops and stores are fronts for, DRUG dealers. All right, because there's only so many barbers you can have in a damn high street. They're not going to all make money and cover their rent. But anyway, we know what a lot of them are fronts anyway. All right. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Like Trick Daddy was saying, man, people ain't in love no more. That vibration of love and romance. Baby, I'll do this for you. Baby, I'll do anything for you, baby. Let your, all this, the romantic vibe, the R&B vibe is out the window, bringing roses to your woman back in the mid-90s, and she'd be like, her heart would be like fluttering or whatever, she'd be saying, oh babe, I love it. Give roses to a bitch today, she'll probably be laughing and say, what the fuck is this? The world has done change, man. People are not in love no more. All right. And the music is bullshit too. All right, because the music has a big part to play on the vibration of people's thought processes. All right, how they feel. That certain track you used to listen to. When you got yourself together, you got a fresh haircut, you're dressed, smelling good. The car was polished up. You're going to pick up your woman. You had the track playing in your house. You had it in your mind. Then you're putting it in a car, going to pick up your boo-boo. Remember those days? Right? You know, and the hairs on your arm would stand up and shit. And then you see a woman, and you pull up, and your woman looking fine as wine, and she'd get in, you know? And then that wave of her fragrance from her hair, freshly washed shampoo hair would hit your face. That feeling, that's there, not there no more, man. That's not there no more. That's why you see a lot of these young men out here just walking around together in a bunch of groups wearing ski masks like a bunch of faggots, man. And I look at these motherfuckers and say, where are the women at? You know? They walk around together all the time and shit. Weirdos, man. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. All right? This is where we're at now. All right? No entertainment, no jobs. All right? And the Lord is just destroying this place piece by piece. All right? Ezekiel 7 verse 6, an end is come. The end is come. And when I said the Lord is destroying this piece by piece, my phone chimed, but the volume is low, you didn't hear it. All right, it said ding. Yeah, the Lord is destroying this place. Ezekiel 7 verse 6, an end is come, the end is come, it watcheth for thee. Behold, it is come. All right, the Lord did say he's going to declare the end from the beginning. All right, so the Lord is working, man. The Lord is just pulling apart this place piece by piece. All right, let me see. Is this the one? All right, I'm going to play this one first. I was thinking that she's from America, but she's from the UK. It's she's going to basically come talk about her scenario, her situation that she has been in while trying to find a job. And this girl's got 2 degrees, speaks 3 languages. All right. And then I'm going to play another video. I'm not going to play too much of it because the other one is like 20 plus minutes of people talking, but it's a cross section of races. Anyway, I'm going to play this one first, right? This is a short. You can hear what she's got to say. All right. This is the current stage of the world. All right. With all these young people and the way they're feeling. All right.
This girl shared a video on TikTok where she tearfully expressed her frustration at being unable to find a job despite holding 2 degrees and speaking 3 languages. She went door to door applying for minimum wage positions, only to be met with rejections.
This is the most humbled I've ever felt in my life. I'm literally holding resumes, a stack of them, so that I can go in person to places and say, are you guys hiring? It's honestly a little bit embarrassing because I'm literally applying for like minimum wage jobs. And some of them are being like, we're not hiring. And it's like, what?
This girl shared a video on TikTok where she tearfully expressed her frustration.
All right, let's go to another video. Where is that? Here we go. All right. Now, there's a cross section of individuals. It's off this Jake's channel. More than likely a Jake with a name like Emmanuel Cook. I mean, check it out. He's got a whole bunch of videos on here, you know. All right, I'm not making no money out of this video. I'm just letting it be known, filtering these videos through the scriptures. That's all it is. All right, let's go.
A little bit of encouragement, because I used to feel the same way all the time. When I met the little girl named Destiny, who would someday be my stepdaughter, and her dad, I was almost shocked to find how going through stuff that your friends can't relate to. I want to give you like a little bit of encouragement, because I used to feel the same way all the time. When I met the little girl named Destiny, who would someday be my stepdaughter, and her dad, I was almost shocked to find how much their lives aligned with mine, and how much, because of all of the hard things I went through, I would be better able to show up for her and be the mom that she did not have. Now, I'm not saying that's going to play out the exact same way for you. What I am saying is the hard stuff that we go through can serve an amazing purpose if you're willing to look for it. I know it feels hard right now and crappy, but I believe you can change the world and that you will do big things.
I think one of the biggest problems that people don't talk about.
You're not going to change the world. You're not going to do big things. Okay, this world is not going to change around for you because you're trying to be somewhat positive. All right. Now, the only way it can change for you is if you're an Israelite and you're part of that number to be, you're elected to be saved. Okay. Number one, if you're an Israelite, that's a blessing because in the next world you're going to be all right. Now, if you're not part of the elect to be saved on this side, unfortunately, the only bad part is for you Israelites that are not elected to be saved, you're going to go through um, whatever the Lord Yahweh Shemesh has chosen for you to be deleted on this side. All right, whether you're in America, ground zero, okay, or whichever part of the world you're in, okay. The only people that are in a positive mindset that go through hell, but they're in a very positive mindset and don't feel the pressure of this world to a certain degree is because the elect know there are better days coming for us and we're at the tail end of this kingdom. A lot of yous are just trying to make it in this world, all right, and trying to be that next, so-called Bill Gates, even though he's just a damn thief, a peckwood Edomite. But anyway, let's just go see what they got to say.
Being a young adult in this generation is that we are too ambitious in one of the hardest economies to be an ambitious person in. And I really think that what started this problem was social media, because back then, or back in previous generations, people's biggest competition was Jimmy Joe down the street, people in their neighborhood, maybe some old friend or whatever. But us in Gen Z, we compare each other to the whole world. We don't care about the age.
I'll tell you what jobs you're going to have, you Gen Zs, you men and women. The army, all right? The army. But I'll give it to this Jake, though. The fro and the beard, you're looking good in that area, Looks like Jake could be in the truth, Jake looks sharp that way. But other than that, if you're not in the truth, you ain't going nowhere.
We don't care about the location. We don't care about none of that. We compare ourselves to everybody on the internet. And this is coming from me. I feel like I'm pretty successful for my age. I moved out when I was 17, freshly turned 18. I live in my own place. I have my own car. I know that I am relatively successful for people in my age.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I feel like I'm just starting life and I'm nowhere near as successful as I want to be. I feel like the dreams that people in my generation have are a way higher level than the dreams that people used to have back then as well. Back then it was just, or I'd assume at least, it was just focusing on getting to your dream career, and then once you hit that point, it's just starting a family and passing down the torch. But I want to travel. I want money.
There is no dream career, man. You work around these offices and that. Those of you that do office work or any kind of work, even guys that are in these C-level, C-suite positions, they're all a bunch of wankers, man. They're all stressed out, pissed off. They very rarely answer their phone or respond to emails. If they do, it's only when there's a necessity or a problem. All right. Okay. Everyone's in a chirpier or a better mood on a Friday. Okay, because they know the weekend is around the corner. Nobody likes it. There's no such thing as a dream job. Okay, if anybody has a dream job on this side, it's the elites, which is basically, they just, pull strings. All right. This is their world, man. This is their kingdom. Even though it's falling, they're still living lovely in them bunkers right now, getting ready for the Lord's return, thinking that they're going to be saved, But anyway, let's keep going.
I don't care much for luxury, but I want experiences. I want to have a story to my life. I want to achieve greatness, or I want to feel greatness, if that makes sense. And I know a lot of people are just going to be like, well, you shouldn't be comparing yourself to anybody, and you should be happy with yourself. And if you keep that mentality, you're never going to be happy. But it's very hard not to compare yourself when...
You shouldn't compare yourself. Everybody's got their own line, their own crosses to bear, man. Everyone's got their own timeline. Okay, now if you were a Jake that didn't get a lot of women on this side, it's because in a previous lifetime the Lord blessed you with women after women after women after women. All right, and if you're a Jake that's possibly a little bit short on this side, in your previous lifetime you're probably tall. All right, the Lord flips things around, man, in each incarnation. All right? You can't really just compare your life to next man. All right, main thing is you got a roof over your head, you got money to spend on things that you like and desire, right? And it's lawful money, right? You got your own spot, you got your own car. Be thankful, man. All right, and don't try and rock the boat. But anyway, let's keep going.
That's what you're surrounded by. And the funny thing is that I know a lot of people feel the same way. So you're definitely not alone in the feeling, but you feel alone. If you guys have heard the phrase, there's always a bigger fish, that's kind of how I feel like, except I'm the small fish here. Like, I look around and I always see the bigger fishes, but I don't realize how big I am. You know what I'm saying? And I really think that what causes this feeling of never being enough is the amount of things that I want to be great at, or people in my generation in general want to be great at. Like, I don't have just one goal in life. It's not that I just want money. I want money, I want to travel, I want experiences, I want to be.
Well, that's out the window. Money is not going to happen. What kind of money are you talking about? The charagma? That's what they're going to do. Start CHIPing people. All right. You want to travel? The world's going to be on lockdown soon. Where are you going to travel to? There's atrocities and shit happening all over the world. Earthquakes, floods, people being deleted. Where are you going to travel to? Hmm?
Physically fit. I want to be intelligent. I
Let's
want.
go to the
The
next
job
video.
market is trash. I've seen 3 videos.
But I think I'll get there one day.
So are we just going to ignore the fact that no one can find a job after they graduate college? So I've seen 3 videos on my For You page so far of people saying they graduated and cannot find a job. The job market is trashed right now for some reason. I don't know what's going on, but no one seems to be able to find any type of job. I mean, the jobs that they have out there, nursing, anything in medical field, anything that is remotely in demand, people are able to find that type of job. But like, business and computer science, and okay, maybe I'm wrong with computer science, but I've seen people in the comment section of this one video of the guy saying he could not find a job after college and it's been a year. Them saying, oh, it took me a year and a half, it took me 5 months, it took me this long. That's crazy. We're spending so much money on college and not being able to find a job.
There you go.
That's scary. And it does scare me because if you think about it, the population is just rising. So eventually we're going to run out of jobs. And with AI, okay, I'm trying to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but AI could take our jobs too.
It's not a conspiracy theory, it's a conspiracy fact. It will take your jobs. Call Ali Habashim Shai 144.
You're not cooked. I promise. Whatever stage of your life you're in, it can get better. It might not feel like it right now, but I promise it can. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how cooked you might feel. You're not. And this comes from a 25-year-old who graduated college at 21, started a business at 22, took out 6 figures of loans, went bankrupt at 25, and now I'm currently making 6 figures, and I'm debt free. So, and that whole whirlwind of experiences, I can tell you a little bit about what I did to overall make my life better. So we're going to go down the list. So when it comes to finances, the first thing you have to do is understand the amount of money that you.
Now you got a lot of people that are here to make people go crazy, talking about their positive experiences in business. And a lot of these people that are so-called YouTube influencers, influence means to influence people's thought processes, right? Which is kind of a witchcraft indirectly because they're making them think that other people are doing wrong because they're not entrepreneurs. They've got that Damon Dash spirit. Oh, I'm a boss. I'm a boss. I'm a boss. I don't work for nobody. A lot of these are agents. They're paid by the powers that be to talk this bullshit, and they get paid to sway people's thoughts and make them feel like shit that they haven't achieved compared to next man. Now, there's also Jakes out there that do well because remember, the curses are going upon our enemies, Deuteronomy 30, verse 7. And Jake, for the most part, is the salt of the earth. They're entrepreneurs, they're innovators, they're creators because we're Israelites, right? And Yahweh Shemashai's blessings have been given, to certain Jakes in that respect where they can create, they can invent, which they have, and which we have, because we create everything, right? Clothes, music, etc., cars, right? Invent, man, thousands of inventions, if not millions, right? And Jake, with the hell that Jake has gone through, a regular race of heathens would have been destroyed and crushed and would have been annihilated by now. Their name would be rubbed out. All right, if the hell that they went through, if they went through the hell that the Israelites have gone through, but the Israelite man and woman, so the Israelite man is still standing, northern and southern kingdom, okay, and we're still the largest nation on the planet Earth. We're like the sands of the sea, and Jake, and we're still here because it's prophecy. We're meant to rule next, and we are going to rule next. All right, but Jake has that spirit to create and invent and be successful because you're going to see a lot of Jakes shine before this place closes shop because those blessings are coming upon Jake in terms of being successful, having a roof over your head, employing other Israelites as well to work for them. You know, that's going to be there too, right? You know, because remember, listen, Jake has got to earn a crust too, right? And there's going to be certain, 1/3 members, or maybe even elect members, that'll be working for certain Jakes that are successful. They'll be creating jobs to employ other Jakes to, as they say, pass on that black dollar, right? Certain Jakes will be thinking like that, you know. Anyway, let's keep playing this.
Make is completely in your control. You don't require a job nor anybody to feed you abundance, to create abundance for you, because the first thing you have to understand is you're an abundant being. Every single abundance that you see in your life, it comes from you. It doesn't.
Now, he's probably one of them. I don't know. He doesn't seem legit to me. When you start using that abundance term, abundance, they're going towards more of that left-hand side vibration of horoscopes and reading charts and going to these weird witches to, eat this, drink that on a certain day, and blah blah blah, and put this in your house outside your front door, or this little statue of Buddha or some bullshit like that to make money come into your house. All right. I don't know, man. I don't know how legit this guy is. Maybe he is. Maybe he believes in that bullshit. I don't know. Only the Lord knows. But and nevertheless, this is the current situation with the young people and finances and money. There ain't none.
Come from the job or the opportunity. You create that job or opportunity. Any job that you have or haven't have or want, it's not valuable because you're not in it. So if you don't have it, that doesn't negate the fact that you're abundant. That doesn't change the fact that you can't make money. You just have to find your own abundance another way. And that's okay, because abundance literally means you have everlasting control over your life. So the first thing you have to do is understand what
you don't have everlasting control of your life, okay? I believe it's in the book of Proverbs. Man's goings are of the Lord, then how can a man understand his own ways? Okay, everything is the Lord has already written your story. Okay, you just have to go through the motions. So it's like we're going towards a kingdom, and we already won the battle. We just have to go through the motions. Okay, all right, that's all it is. Man, he's a bug out, man. This guy. Oh, you got control over your life. Okay, you're right. Control over your life. You're that confident, man. You need to walk on eggshells. Like you need to walk like you're walking on eggshells, man, because the Lord can do anything, anytime. All right. And not once have I seen this man say, give credit to the Lord Almighty in heaven, Yahweh Bashem Yashai, or at least say, okay, all praises to the Most High, or something along those lines. He's talking about himself.
Good at, because making money is a mixture of what you're good at, what the world needs, and what is valuable. And when you have a good mixture of all three, and
it's not every single time I try to get a job, it's like it's always something. No, we're not taking in. No, we don't have enough hours. No, we're not gonna get back to you. No. Like, damn, bro, y'all don't want a nigga to work. I swear to God, me growing up, everybody else was getting jobs quick as hell. Like, but now, like, I don't know what the fuck the problem is. I can't find a job for shit.
And what's he like, about 20, 21? Let's just say between 18 to 22, this young man here is, right? He goes, when he was coming up, they could find jobs easily. So he's probably talking about maybe, so he's 22. So you're looking at maybe 2010. He's probably like 5, 6, 7. Yeah, around about that time. Yeah, people could go in and out of jobs. I remember at that time, people could acquire jobs. You'd get calls from recruitment agents and stuff like that. If you put your CV out there or your resume out there, yeah, you get calls. So I mean, now he's saying that he's making comparison in his mind, the pros and cons. He's comparing in his mind that there ain't no jobs out there no more. And he's a young man. He's probably hasn't even got like a multitude of degrees or whatever, or multiple degrees or whatever. He's probably just after a regular job, probably working at some kind of coffee shop, being a waiter, or maybe working in a bar or a pub or whatever as a barman. Just to get a few shekels, as they say, or a few quid. Right? And he's finding it hard. And if you notice, a bunch of people that we've been speaking or watching have been how many Israelites have we seen? There's one. I don't know what she is. She looks like Northern Kingdom. That's Jake. Looks like Jake here again, and Jake here, another Jake, and another Jake. So many Jakes at the moment. So.
And then it's crazy how like nigga be like, get a job. Why you don't want to get a job? Nigga don't want to work. Nigga don't want to do this. Nigga, you don't understand. I'm trying to get these jobs. I'm calling back day by day. Yeah. Calling up to the store. Hey, y'all got this? Y'all got that? Nah, we don't have any. Nah, we don't have any. Nah, we don't have any. No, like, bro, damn, bro. Like, it's like God want a nigga just to I don't know. What do God want me to do? Apparently, he don't want a nigga to work no job, so apparently I gotta be a fucking leader. But how the fuck can I be a leader with no income?
Is it just me, or is getting a job so difficult right now?
At least the young man said, he doesn't know what God wants him to do. At least he said that there's a higher power in heaven that's controlling everything. I'll give him credit for that part. Why the F is getting a job harder than anything? Look at that Eve, depressed and shit. Got a pimple on her forehead. Breaking out because of stress.
It used to be so easy. Why? Why do I go to an interview 30 minutes away from my house and to try to impress you? You say you fucking say you're gonna call me back. I wait. You don't call me back.
Yeah, don't call back.
And y'all stay hiring, bro. You guys need people. You need people.
Over the past few years, we've had to see layoff after layoff, see our friends struggle to find new jobs, even though the original company starts hiring again, like almost immediately, just being continually asked to do more with less, being told that even if you're getting your work done from home, you still have to come back to the office, don't care about the stuff you do outside work, and all that for a meager 1% raise with the state of the current inflation. So basically a pay cut. And people ask why young people aren't loyal.
Well, they're not going to be loyal because here in the UK, it's approximately, if you live, I'll give my perspective. If you live sort of like outskirts of London City and you need to buy a train pass or a train, like a weekly train card or a monthly train card, it's going to cost you a minimum of £5,000 on an annual basis. Anything from £5,000 to £7,000. Those that are working remotely, right, office jobs, have to go back into the office with this change, and that's really going to affect their pocket as well, especially if their salaries haven't gone up. And this woman here, this American Edomite, is talking about going back to the office with a 1% raise, and that ain't nothing. And in things in America, compared to, listen, it's getting expensive here as well, but America is ground zero, and the things over there are fucking stupidly priced. I saw a video a couple of weeks ago on one of the, I think it's GMS Dedication, Brother Khanak, and there's another brother that uploads videos on there too, from the GMS San Fran camp. And yeah, there was a young girl with a 2012 vehicle, and she was paying fucking, how much was it? $6,000 annually in car insurance. I said, what the fuck? That is just, I don't know what that comes from, maybe £4,500 on an annual basis. I said, damn. I said, car's probably not even worth that much. So people are feeling it,
Their companies anymore.
I keep seeing these videos about Americans that can't get a job to save their lives right now. They're applying for hundreds of different places and they are far overqualified, but they can't even get a call back, let alone an interview. And I was thinking about that and I thought maybe it's the economy, maybe our unemployment rate is way lower than it has been, but that's not true. Our current 4.1% isn't enough to explain the huge amount of people that are
They're just going to give you numbers on the news to make you feel better. If they actually told you the truth on the news, which they're not going to tell you the truth, if they say that the job market is destroyed, there are no jobs, we're not going to create no jobs, AI is going to take over, your future is bleak, what do you think people are going to do? They're going to start rioting and start smashing up things straight away. So they're gradually going to do it. They're going to tell you a bit of truth, then they're going to sugarcoat it, saying that, let's just say hypothetically speaking, Nike and IBM has laid off 30,000 workers, right? I'm just coming up with hypotheticals, right? Okay, we've laid off 30,000 workers. They're going to say, okay, but Adidas and Hewlett Packard are recruiting 5,000 new people in customer services, in tech, in procurement, whatever kind of positions, they're going to say that. So 10,000 workers laid off one place, 5,000 new jobs created in another spot. So they're going to say, oh, at least they created new jobs, which could be bullshit. But they're going to put the commercials online. They're going to put the commercials on LinkedIn, the advertisements there. People are going to be sending their CVs and resumes in droves. But it's just bullshit to make you think they got the jobs, but they're not going to be hiring nobody. Hence the reason why they're not responding to people. And plus, AI is involved as well.
qualify for jobs but can't get contacted back. So then I started thinking about the way that we all use the same job seeking platforms, places like Indeed, even LinkedIn and Glassdoor. These platforms serve as matchmaking spaces between jobs and potential employees. What does that sound like to you? Because to me, that sounds like online dating. And when I think about it, the impact that online dating has had on us socially, I think that these platforms have had the same effect on the job application process. Just like in online dating, there's a lot of catfishing happening on these websites, like straight up scams, but also a lot of real employers that actually hire people aren't actively searching for a new employee despite having a job posting. And what does that do for the applicant? We can apply to tons and tons of jobs and have a very low success rate simply because there aren't as many real opportunities out there as we are led to believe. Honestly, there are a lot of applicants out there that aren't actually looking for a new job either, which makes it even easier for employers to go about their very unhinged ways of disqualifying applicants en masse. When it comes to dating and finding a partner, we have found that this tool, online dating, that was meant to connect you and provide you more opportunity to find better matches, has just become a way to feel that there's more out there. And because you always feel that there's more out there and there are better options, you don't try, you don't take chances on people. That's a broad statement. I'm not saying you should give people more chances, but the employers can always wait another day and have a ton of more applicants, even if they aren't all quality. They don't have to think about their immediate community or the people they know and referrals as much because there are endless options, right, available through these job sites. And I think overall, it is diluting the quality of both the job pool and the applicant pool. Both pools are filled with catfish and they're being diluted by the sheer volume of applications that are being sent back and forth completely frivolously.
The only reason why anyone with like a college or university degree and still unemployed is literally three reasons. And it's one, you just did not apply enough. You didn't apply to many companies. You didn't send your application out to enough people. It's two, networking. You didn't go out and build your network. You didn't build relationships. You didn't build rapport with people who work in the industry. So you don't know enough, and not many people are willing to swing the bat for you at the end. Three, you don't have enough side projects. You haven't demonstrated that you've been able to show the skills that are important to you. You haven't been able to show your experience. You haven't been able to show your initiative or proactivity in external sources. So how can jobs ever trust that you'll perform like you say you do while on the job? I have not seen a single person who has all three things stay unemployed for more than 6 months. I have friends who literally the moment they start applying, they apply, they network, they build that side project, they build that side portfolio, and they get interviews within the next month. So it's literally three things. It's just that simple.
A quick reminder, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's continue the video.
As someone who is born in Gen Z and has gone through the whole college process, done internships, got jobs, been in between jobs, I want to offer some advice to the younger folk. Growing up, there were two kinds of people that gave me life advice. One group of people said, you need to go to college, you need to get a degree, get a master's, you're not going to get a job without it. The other group of people said college is unnecessary. Not only is it unnecessary, it's a waste of time. All you need is experience to get a job. And as someone who has had many friends do both ways and someone who has also been through the process, I would like to give some advice to those who are entering into college or even getting out of college. There seems to be a misconception today that if you have a degree, you are automatically qualified for a job. That's a lie. It's also a myth that if you do not have a degree and you have 1 or 2 years of experience, that also qualifies you for the job that you are applying for. This is also a lie. See, the thing is when you get a degree, it actually helps companies know what you were educated in, how you were educated, and if you have the discipline and the determination to keep going. What experience tells companies is that you didn't just sit in college, but you also networked, you met people, and you went and you got experience, which is what you're actually going to need for your job. People are not overqualified for jobs today. People are qualified at the bare minimum, but they don't actually have the right experience to land them the job that they want. This is why we have psychology and marketing majors getting out of college and crying on TikTok because they can't get a job. Now, unlike the Asian household in which I was raised, I will not be out here telling you guys, oh, you guys got stupid degrees. You guys shouldn't be getting marketing degrees and psychology degrees. As someone who has a degree in marketing. But what I will say is this. If you're someone who is currently in college or about to graduate, please do not underestimate the value of internships and networking. Networking and internships will get you so far in life. Please do not think that you just sitting there and getting straight A's and certificates is going to get you a job. Spoiler alert, it's not. But also, if you don't go to college and you have experience, if you work super hard, you're super creative with your resources, you will be able to get a job, but you have to be very creative, especially because now the market is so competitive. In my experience and opinion, getting a degree and experience together is the best situation, because in this way you can sort of beat the people who have just experience, but also beat the people who just have a degree. Let me also say I very much sympathize with the younger Gen Z and Gen Alphas coming up right now who are getting college degrees. Y'all are not in an easy economy. It's hard. It sucks. I mean, this is not easy. And I don't know if anybody told you it was going to be easy. If they did, it's a lot. But also, please do not put that all inside you and then be very, very depressed and discouraged. It's a hard road, but it's also one that every young person has to walk, and we learn through it. Okay, so here's my advice. Buckle up. The earlier you get started on getting to know people and getting internships in your education along your academic and career path, the better. If you're going into poli-sci and wanting to pursue either maybe journalism or law, go ahead and find a legal firm and be an assistant. Ask for internships. If you're trying to go into journalism, go ahead and start applying to different internships, getting to know people in that market, in that career, proving yourself to be a reliable and eager and ambitious young person. That is very well looked upon, and people will find you very impressive. I know from experience. If you're going to go into marketing or
some great ideas they're giving, they're trying to think outside the box, but everyone's not going to make it through. All right, people are trying to get more qualifications, trying to be a little bit more pally, kiss backside a little bit more to acquire these opportunities. This is what she's saying in a nutshell, which is not going to work for the most part. The only people that are going to benefit from that are the people that are providing those terrible courses, right? Or those online courses for you to find better jobs, all right? And most of these jobs, especially office-based, will go to AI, all right?
Or psychology or counseling.
Let's go to the next video. I think she's spoken enough. Let's get one more. Get one more. Let's go to this tubby Edomite woman.
Yes, my kids are grown. I am so tired of feeling
Where there is a will, there is a way. So I hope this advice helps you guys.
I am so tired of feeling helpless as a parent. Yes, my kids are grown adults. My oldest is 28, my youngest is 25. And I thought by teaching them what I learned, which is you work hard, you get a good job, you're going to get the things in life that you need, right? Worked for me. Why would it work for them? Because it doesn't.
It worked for you because you're an Edomite. Okay, so you're mid-40s, early 50s. So she was probably born in the early 70s. So at that time, things were still good for the so-called white man. All right? Jobs were plentiful. She grew up probably as a young woman in the early 90s. Jobs are still there. America was still America, the so-called land of opportunity. Baywatch was on thick and fast around the world. Everybody wanted to go to California, the women and all that. You know? Jobs were available. Opportunities were available. Optimism was there. She did it because it was her blessing. Now her children, Deuteronomy 30 verse 7, our curses are coming on them, and they cannot benefit from what she benefited from what her fathers benefited from what her father's fathers benefited from. Okay, because Esau is falling. There is no American dream. It's always been a nightmare. All right, the American dream was created for the so-called white man because it was their heaven, their haven. All right, but hell for you Israelites, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and those of the paternal lineage from the royal tribes, wherever you're scattered to the four corners of the earth. All right, let's go.
Because the world has fucking changed.
All right, so I'm going to give my opinion on this, but take it with a grain of salt. I'm no expert. I think she's right. The world has changed quite a bit. And I think a lot of parents do this. They teach their children the things that worked for them. The problem with that in a lot of ways is the world is constantly evolving, and a lot of parents are not constantly.
Now, he's wrong there. The world is not evolving, it's devolving. Okay? It's going backwards. It's at the point where this world is falling now. Okay? All right? It's not evolving. If you think it's evolving, what is it evolving to? Because you're talking about tech and AI and all that bullshit. Okay? If the world is regressing, people are regressing. Children are smaller in size and stature and strength. Okay? And intellect. All right? the best generation probably was born. Well, not the best generation. I don't want to quote Khalid Muhammad. If you're not familiar about Khalid Muhammad, NOI, is it NOI or whatever? He was an eloquent speaker. He used to go to One West back in the day. Our elders have met him, I believe. He wanted to learn about scripture, so he cut down Edomites and Amalekite Edomites when he came to debates and shit. Right? He said that the best generation that was born was in the 70s, because they were more politically uh, inclined, in terms, they were more politically aware, geopolitically aware. They were aware that the so-called white man was a problem, you know. Even Ice Cube and all that were making songs like Cave Bitch back in the day. If he was on his album Lethal Injection, which I believe I remember buying that back in 91, 92. You know, it was more, yeah, and the emphasis on having so-called black love or brown love or whatever, it was there. Back in the day, I remember you'd very rarely see a brown girl with a white guy. I'm sure it did happen, but very, very small amounts. You go to a wedding and party, you would see nothing but beautiful brown couples everywhere. Right now, we're at, and interracial relationships from a woman's perspective was frowned upon. And yeah, it was mainly, you mainly saw only white women dealing with Jake really at that time. Now it's like the other way around. So the world is devolving, man. All right, it's not evolving. It's not changing for the better. It's, well, not for you. It's changing the better. It's changing for the better for us Israelites. All right, that are part of the hopeful elect. It's changing better for us because we can see this motherfucker fall very soon. All right. Yeah, man. Let's go with it. Let's go.
Constantly evolving their mindsets to keep up with the times. So in a lot of ways, sometimes parents are teaching children outdated ways of how to be successful and live the life they want to live. For example, you'll hear a lot of parents telling their kids, college is the thing that's going to get you to where you need to be. That is incorrect. Can it help you? Absolutely.
I agree with that part. College is incorrect because a lot of people that went to college or university, especially, I'm speaking for myself, and people that, we went to university back in the day, in the 90s, all right? A lot of those people, you could still get those same jobs without a degree. Like I said, going university, especially from a UK perspective, because education was free for us, right? We didn't have to pay astronomical fees for university. It was it was all. I guess we pay because we pay so much in taxes. I believe that sort of went towards it, and government education was free, right? I guess it's only the international students that had to pay from knowledge, but nevertheless, right at that time, college or university was a place to go because your parents wanted you to go there. Your parents wanted to see you wear a shirt and tie to work, and as parents say, but not they don't know what a tie means. We know what tie means now. All right, it's the obelisk. It's just basically a rod, and they wanted to see your shirt and tie. Parents would say to you, "Oh, son, I want to see you go to work in an office. I don't want you, doing the same work as me with your hands dirty and your clothes dirty. I want to see you do better." And then you listen to them to make them happy. You know what I mean? To give them happy tears that you go to university. At that time especially, and basically it's just 4 years of just having fun, man, hitting the club, women, looking sharp every day, and drinking a lot. And you studied only when you had to. You crammed for tests and exams only when you had to. It was basically just one big party, especially for the first 2 years. That's all it was for.
But will it get you to where you need to be? No. Now, unless you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse, like very specific things that require a degree, then sure.
You those types of things, and all they see when they come home is they watch social media, kids their age.
Each month, while the value of the house.
And all they see when they come home is they watch social media, kids their age, on lavish vacations with all this money and nothing to do, all these social media influencers, because we value those types of things over hard workers. We will pay them $10,000, but you'll work 40 hours a week, you can't afford it.
Okay, so
but a lot of those social media influencers are fake. They're being paid to act that way, to distort people's thoughts, to make them more, what's that word, man? term leaves, to make them more, you know, I forgot the term. Yeah, but it's basically this. A lot of them are fake. They're being paid to act that way, do things, just to sway people's thoughts. Like it's wrong to have a 9 to 5. The hopeful elect know having a 9 to 5 is a means to an end. To make ends meet and to cover yourself, to keep the roof over your head. Raiment, food, and clothing, and all that. That's what it's about. And if the Lord gives you extra, that's a brakim. You know what I mean? But for the most, that's it. We don't give, we don't give a shit about fucking becoming a CEO of a damn company, man. You can give us a better salary, but we want to keep our work load the same. We don't want to have an increased workload because we want to focus on the truth, man, and learn more. So they want to just influence you, not for the right reasons, of course. And then also some of these influencers just want to do it for the views. A lot of their shit is AI and fake. Especially with how some of these bitches look as though they're already fucking 200 pounds, and they're trying to make themselves look like they're 140 on camera. It's a whole bunch of shit going on out there, man. And then you've got certain cases, some of this shit is legit, where it actually works out for people, man, that that are have some good footage on their channels, and people watch it and they make money. It's a mixed bag. I don't really know what this Jake's got to say. It's boring. Anyway, I think that's about it. So you've got a cross section of people talking about what's going on in their life and giving their feedback on the job situation. There is nothing out there anymore, bro. And if you do find anything, if anybody that does find a job, it's required. For the hopeful elect, right? If they need a job, well, let's say the elect, if they need a job, the Lord will provide them a job. The Lord will provide them a way to be okay and not be in a situation where they've got to beg. All right? Okay, because the righteous are going to be protected. And let me get that last scripture since I quoted that. Let me just say it. I have not seen the righteous beg, King James Version. I just got to abbreviate it, then I can find it. Sometimes I don't know which chapter or verse it is, Psalms, but the message is in my mind. Psalms 37 and 25. I have been young and now am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. All right, you ain't gonna see the elect, all right, beg for bread, be strung out on the streets, on the floor, begging for bread, and people not, and ignoring them. All right, the elect are not going to go through that. The elect are going to be covered. Okay, whether even if they're a road sweeper, they've got a job, they're still earning their daily bread lawfully. All right, and there's nothing wrong with having a daily bread. That even if you're a road sweeper, even if you're whatever is it what do you call them? A cleaner in a school or a building, whatever. It's a lawful job. The Lord has blessed you. You know what I mean? Some of these is it custodians? Or whatever the term is. I don't want to say the wrong word. Definition of custodian. Is it custodian? Modern words of cleaners in schools nowadays. That's a term. I think, yeah, custodian, yeah, or caretaker. A custodian or caretaker, I was correct, yeah. All right, some of these custodians, stroke caretakers of schools and these office buildings earn really good money too. You know what I mean? In certain cases. All right, so there's nothing wrong with having jobs like that, man. All right, so the righteous are not going to be begging bread. All right, the only people you're going to see begging bread are going to be 2/3 or heathens. All right, Yahweh Hashem Mashai will take care of his elect. Like Elder Apostle Gabar would say in the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Mashai, when you pray and you say what you're going to say and you leave it to Yahweh Hashem Mashai, and you walk away thinking and knowing that prayer is going to be answered. The Lord's going to answer it. That's the faith and belief you got to have, and it will come to pass. All right. The Lord's not going to keep kicking you down and kicking you down and breaking you down and breaking you down and breaking you down, and you're not building and learning from it. The Lord's going to take care of you, man. All right? All right, I'm going to leave it there now. All right, so the grinding is ceasing. All right, and everybody is out there complaining about the lack of opportunities and trying to find loopholes how to try and make it in this world. But it's not going to work because the Lord has allotted a timeline that this devil cannot pass. All right? Okay? The time is determined with Yahweh Bashem Yashai. All right? Anyway, all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yashai, Bashem Rakak Wadash. All right? So the Lord has allotted time to this devil which he cannot pass. He cannot extend your rulership, devil, even with the RFI to the D. You cannot extend it. All right? Your kingdom is falling, and Barakatah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yashai Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash for that.